So just when you thought you'd seen the last of someone, they pop up again like a stray sock in the laundry. Well, that stray sock is me, Mark Van Dusen. I spent many years traveling Eastern Ontario and bringing to television stories on interesting people and places. Now, I'm at it again, this time for Ottawa Business Journal, which is expanding its coverage to the diverse business community outside of the greater national capital. In a series of online interviews for OBJ Regional, I'll be profiling some of those innovative, enterprising, and often surprising businesses. So let's get started. In the first of two parts, Joe Kowalski, founder of Renfrew County's Wilderness Tours, tells us how a formerly trained chemist got to be king of the river. From a stray sock who's been around. Hope you enjoy. I'm here with Joe Kowalski, president, founder, I think, owner. Joe, if all those titles are correct, of Wilderness Tours, one of the, I'd say, top drawer wilderness adventure destinations in Canada, if not the world. And I'll start by reminding you of this, Joe, of not only have I enjoyed tremendous thrills going down river like a bucking bronco in one of your rafts, but I recall another incident that was equally thrilling when you and I bungee jumped together many years ago. You remember that?
Yes, I do.
And how do you remember that?
Well, it was because it was when you were here, Mark. It was either our first opening day, or it was very close to the beginning. And what happens is that, those things just stick in your mind, like it's these people that, climbers that make first ascents and kayakers that make first descents. So those things stick in your mind. So I do remember.
Well, since then, Joe, you've carved literally out of the wilderness a very successful tourist destination, tourist operation. Can you give me some of the indicators of your success as far as numbers go, and perhaps financial numbers over the years? What can you tell us that has made you a success up there?
Well, so what happened for me, Mark, is that I'm an American by birth. Now I have dual citizenship. And so when I was going to college in Pennsylvania, Vietnam War was going on, and the U.S. had the draft, and I knew that I would be drafted after my college deferment. And so I signed up for what was called ROTC, which was enable you to become an officer upon graduation. At the same time, I was pursuing a double major in mathematics and chemistry. And one summer, to be on track to graduate in time, I had to go to summer school to take organic chemistry 1 and 2, which are, any chemist will tell you, those are killer courses. To keep my sanity, I read Tolkien's The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and that's really what spurred my interest in adventure. It was first time, and someone suggested running wild rivers as a way to get to these wild places. So I started doing it. And but what happened was, this was before there even was an adventure industry. I didn't have anybody to do it with. And so I started a outdoor club. I was the president, the founder, the river guide, the biking guide, the canoe guide. And the highlight of our program was a trip to Algonquin Park every summer. And so I just decided that when my military obligation was over, I would move to Canada and I would start Wilderness Tours. And I did just that in 1975, and our business grew. And basically what happened is that because I'm a baby boomer, and I rode the demographic baby boomer wave, and I rode it twice. You were talking about benchmarks. Well, the baby boomers, peak of the baby boomers was the mid 80s. And so those were some of our biggest years in the mid 80s when the baby boomers were on the average 25 years old. And so what that meant was they were working, they were looking for a significant other, they wanted to do exciting things. And uh, so that was a boom time in the adventure industry and the rafting industry with wilderness tours in the mid 80s. And then what happened is that all those people that went rafting with us and met their significant other started getting married and mortgages and children and stopped going rafting. And so our business declined and our industry declined starting in the late 80s, early 90s. And then what happened is that all those kids started becoming preteens and teens, and their parents started bringing them back to wilderness tours again. And so we had the baby boom echo in the late 90s and really to about 2010, 2011. And so in those days, we were hosting about 40 to 50,000 people a summer in raft, kayak, canoe, bungee jumping, all the things that you did. And so now what happens, there's a different demographic. People, technology, we're on Zoom right now, and technology is keeping people from going outside. There's a lot of people, geez, why go out and get wet and cold and muddy and scared when you can live those experiences, on high definition. So anyway, those are things that we're coping with. And I was a baby boomer, and I had my baby boom echo. I have two wonderful children, Joel and Katie, and they are, years ago, I had an opportunity to sell the business, but so I had a family meeting. I said, kids, although I'd like to do this forever, I can't, but I'm happy to keep doing it if you want to stay in the business and be involved. And so they both said yes, and so so they're involved in the business, and we're working to transition it so that I will be working for them someday.
So how does that feel for you, having family, having this evolved to the point where now your kids are involved and
Oh, it's
looking at
a
things?
good. It's wonderful to be able to work with your children.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah. So no, it's the and what happens is that you get set. As we get older, we get set in our ways, and it's a brand new world out there, and it keeps changing. And the only constant in our life is change. And the kids see things from with fresh eyes and a fresh outlook, and that it's good. It's a little bit frustrating for me at times, but because sometimes I say that I'm a dinosaur and I should be extinct, but I do every new thing now. I say to Joel and Katie, I said, look, I'm the past, you're the future, you have to live with us, we're going to do it your way.
Joe, you've had your ups and downs. You've seen great success. What have the last couple of years been like?
Well, so what we've had to do is that we've had to basically the outdoor industry has been shrinking, and the reason for that is the demographics. There are smaller families. Probably half of urban Canada now is new Canadians, and they they don't have the same culture of paddle sports and swimming that we do. So it will, and they're starting to, but it's taking a while to get new Canadians in the out of doors. One of the things that we started 3 or 4 years ago, and it's going quite well, is we started Ottawa City Rafting right out of Britannia Beach, right
Right.
in downtown Ottawa. And we did that primarily to get new Canadians into the outdoors, because the rafting that you've done at our main resort, because the rapids are big, it requires swimming ability. The rapids inside the city limits at Britannia are small, and the way that we run the trip, you don't have to be a swimmer. So we've done that. We've also got into the softer side, more interpretation. We have a wonderful partnership with Algonquin College, where we teach all of their outdoor education programs. And so it's just like everything, you have to change. And, we're having this interview online instead of on person. And you just have to adapt to that change. And you want to make sure that you know where the change is headed, so that you go in the right direction. And you can't be like I am sometimes, a dinosaur.